Welcome to the You on the Camino de Santiago podcast. This podcast is for and about first-time pilgrims walking the pilgrimage routes in Spain, France, and Portugal. With your host, guide and longtime pilgrim, Nancy Reynolds of the Camino Experience. What is the story of your life that you're writing right now? That's the question my guest this week is asking as she counts down to her pilgrimage on the Camino de Santiago. Hi, this is Nancy, and I'm here today with Danya, wife and mother of two, who is starting her pilgrimage with my May Camino Experience group in just over a week. As a wife and mother of two daughters who is approaching the end of her 40s, Danya is asking some big questions, some profound questions that will accompany her on her pilgrimage. Questions like, is it selfish to ask, what do I want? What does it mean to be a real pilgrim? And am I a real pilgrim? And that question I started with, what is the story of my life that I'm writing right now? I loved the conversation Danya and I had, and I especially love that her family was able to join us at the end to weigh in with their perspective on what mom is heading out to do and how they can support her in making this significant journey. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. I can't wait to meet Danya and the others in my May group in person as we've been getting ready together and getting to know each other over Zoom for the past 8 months. Each year, I lead groups on the Camino Frances starting in Saint-Jean-Pied-du-Port to support people who want to walk the Camino on their own, independently, but who don't want to start the pilgrimage alone. Some of my pilgrims would never walk the Camino without this support. Others just want the camaraderie that comes with starting with people they already know and who are equally passionate and excited about the journey. Still others love that starting this way takes the edge off of the fear and anxiety that comes with taking on something like a pilgrimage on the Camino de Santiago. Others love planning and preparing and appreciate doing that in an organized, linear, and thorough way. And one of the greatest benefits people report from joining my groups is the peace of mind their families have, knowing they are starting this journey with someone who has made the walk over the Pyrenees and from Saint-Jean-Pied-du-Port to Pamplona 20 plus times, and who will be keeping an eye on their loved one. I am leading 3 groups in 2026, all of which are full, and I expect to lead 3 groups in 2027, or maybe 4, depending on interest. My groups start in Saint-Jean-Pied-du-Port, and we start in May and September every year to give us the best chance for good walking weather. I will announce the 2027 dates and open registration in July 2026. The first people to know the 2027 dates are the people on my email list. If you think you might want to grab a spot in one of those groups and you are not yet on my email list, you can get on the list by following the link in the show notes, and you'll also get your free copy of my Camino Planning Roadmap. Now, if you know you definitely want to join one of my groups in 2027 and begin your pilgrimage from Saint-Jean-Pied-du-Port in either May or September, and you'd like to be at the front of the line to get a spot in your first choice of groups, then you can go ahead and put your name on the interest list. The link to get on the interest list is also in the show notes. Okay, let's go ahead and meet Danya and her family and find out what's on her mind as she's counting down to starting her Camino in May. Danya, hi, welcome. Thanks for joining me on the podcast today.
I'm so happy to be here, Nancy.
Well, I've just been so looking forward to this because you and I have been hanging out a bit, getting ready for your Camino, and to have you tell your story, not many people from my groups get on the podcast and tell their stories. And so I'm just excited that you are in my group and you're telling your story on the podcast, but also because you've got an interesting story and some family dynamics going on. And I just am really eager to hear your view of this thing.
Well, it's such an honor to be here. I'm really excited to talk to you.
Excellent. Well, how about we start where I always start and put the pin in the map? Will you share with us your Camino plans?
Yes, I have some plans, which is not always the easiest thing to get going, but this is getting real.
Yes.
I am coming to you today from my house in Boulder, Colorado. And on May 3rd, I'm going to fly from Denver through Atlanta, then through Paris, then landing in Biarritz on May 4th. And the journey will begin after a very long flight.
And what's that journey going to be?
So, a big part of the journey is going to be based on the fact that I'm meeting up with your group to start the Camino Frances, to walk over the Pyrenees with your group of, I think it's 12 now, other pilgrims.
Yep.
And we're going to go on that big hike together.
Yeah. And then talk with us about how far you're going, what your plans are, because the group is together until Pamplona. So it's really just to get you started and have you feeling like, I got this. Bye, Nancy. That's always my goal, even though I sit and cry in Pamplona after you all walk on, but whatever. So, what are your plans after you leave Pamplona?
Well, that's actually a big part of my story, which I think we'll get into, and kind of how you and I have been friends over these last couple of months, talking
Yeah.
about, am I a real pilgrim if I don't go all the way to, what is a real pilgrim? What is a real pilgrimage?
Mm.
As it turns out, I was able to allot 25 days of walking and traveling and getting from point A to point B. So, as I mentioned, it takes a while to get from Denver all the way to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, and then it takes a while at the end to get back to the airport.
Right.
So when all was told, I realized that I just wouldn't have enough time to get from Saint Jean all the way to the quote unquote end of the pilgrimage in Santiago. And I reached out to you just to say, is this okay? Can I have my pilgrimage? Can I follow this call even though I don't have time to get all the way?
Ah, my heart. That got me so emotional. Am I a pilgrim? Can I do this if I'm not doing it the way that somebody said it's supposed to be done?
Yeah, so it was a journey. I think it's most likely that I will get to Burgos and possibly beyond.
Okay.
I would say it's my intention to take that walk to Burgos and see if I do get further, but not to put a lot of pressure on myself to walk
Hmm.
faster or go further each day, because a big part of this walk for me is going to be the opportunity to really listen to my own rhythm, to listen to my own calling, to not be on somebody else's schedule. And I feel like you, Nancy, have given me a lot of permission to really recognize that my destination is my own heart. That's what I'm
Yes.
really trying to get to.
Yes. Okay, that time the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I'm like, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you have really been exploring the question of what is this thing about for you? What is the what does pilgrim mean to you at this point?
That's such a good question, and you've been a wonderful partner for me in discovering that, because before I talked to you, I was thinking, okay, I could squeeze this pilgrimage in if I go start and do the Portuguese route. I could squeeze it
Uh-huh.
all in there, or if I started in Sarria, I bet I could do the whole quote unquote whole route. Or there were a lot of options where I felt I could kind of check those boxes off that somebody else said, this is the way it's done. But I would say just through the lived experience of listening to the call of my own soul, I'm going to do it in the way that I feel drawn to. So a real pilgrim, I'm learning, is the one who answers the call of her own heart.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
And I have no idea what it's going to be, Nancy. I have
Mhm.
all these ideas, but I have never walked a pilgrimage. before. So it's going to have to be a discovery.
Yeah.
I love that you interview all these first time pilgrims and they have all these ideas. And then I love when they come back and say, oh, I thought this and that. And, it just wasn't that at all. And in fact, it was even better because
Yeah.
I couldn't have known.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I love about the focus I have on this podcast is I'm not here to tell you what it's going to be. I'm here to get you there
Hmm.
so you can discover it. You use the word discovery. It really is, well, I can't say what the journey to your heart is going to be like.
Right. And you've been such a wonderful champion of just giving me permission to keep answering the call. And how rare is it in life that we hear this crystalline, clear call to action, right? From another realm
Yeah, it feels like it.
with no idea why exactly. No, there's not really a diploma at the end. There's no one that's going to say, yes, now you did that because X, Y, and Z. It's really the call of the spirit. And sometimes, well, I'm discovering that saying yes to that is quite remarkable.
It's interesting as you're describing that. I'm thinking of other faith traditions where pilgrimage is actually a requirement. For example, in Islam, the Hajj pilgrimage is something that Muslims are supposed to do once in their lifetime. But this isn't that for most people. This is a Catholic pilgrimage in origin. And so for Catholics, this has that significance. But the statistics show that maybe half of the people who reach Santiago express that this is that type of a pilgrimage. So when you think of pilgrimage, what does that bring up for you? Because we've got the pilgrim, the journey to the heart, but what is the pilgrimage then?
Well, I'm going to have to answer that by saying I don't know yet, and I hope to know in May of this year. But what I can say, and maybe answer it a little bit indirectly, is that to meet you in Saint Jean Pied de Port and to climb over the Pyrenees Mountains is a very unexpected and out of character choice for me to make.
Okay. All right. You have to say more about that.
I think the physical challenge of it, the spiritual challenge, and the time away from home just does not fit into something that if you'd asked me even just a few years ago, is that something you feel drawn to? I don't think it would have been this. But what I can say is that once um, this particular route, and in particular starting in Saint Jean Pied de Port, every time I heard about it, every time someone mentioned it, there were all these synchronistic opportunities for me to learn more. And something about this route in particular is calling me. And I'm not sure exactly why, but if I were forced to give you an answer, I would say something about the coming together of the physical challenge, the spiritual challenge, and the opportunity to take this long walk with spirit and just listen on a path that has such a well-worn route of, I know that thousands of years pilgrims have been walking this route, maybe millions of people.
Yeah. Out of devotion to an idea that something holy is at the end. That has to lay down tracks.
It has to lay down track. So, yeah, I guess my answer is I'm not sure yet why or exactly what being a pilgrim means to me. But as I've been preparing, it's become very clear to me that it's happening. I am a pilgrim, and I will discover and continue to discover what that means over a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to talk more about what is actually calling you at this time in your life and what is that motivation behind you that had you say yes and say yes now.
Hmm. Well, so to put the pin in the map of my life,
There we
just
go.
where I'm going to go on May 3rd, just a few days before I depart, it will be my 49th birthday.
Wow.
And I think there's a sort of a reality that sets in at that age that I am now, where even in a best case scenario, I have lived about half of my life, if not more, already.
Yeah.
Most likely, statistically, more of my life is behind me than I have ahead of me.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. I think it's something that in our culture we don't address very directly, that time is finite and we're really here on this planet for a short time. And
Yeah.
something about coming into this phase of my life really was inviting me to ask more profound questions.
Mm.
What am I here for? I've kind of ticked a lot of the boxes of what I thought I was supposed to do. And I was really living hard into those, I don't know, identities, wife, mother, hard worker, professional, cooker of dinner, and a lot of those things that I thought that I was supposed to do. And I'm really glad that I did. I think there really was something about coming into this phase of my life where I wanted to ask deeper questions.
You wrote something to me in one of your emails that I'd like to read to you and get your thoughts on it. So here's what you wrote, that you had so many times woken up feeling sick and defeated to the persistent call of your own spirit. And we've touched on that. What else is there when we think about that? Sick and defeated to the persistent call of your own spirit,
Well, it makes me feel a little emotional hearing my own words back to me. I don't
right?
remember exactly what the context was, but I can share that about 4 years ago, I was faced with a health crisis, pretty unexpected. So I think when we're talking about women in midlife, there's almost this cliche of the exhausted, stressed out, tired, aging woman. And I was fitting right into that, I don't know, iconic midlife woman. I was
Yeah.
not in the health that I was hoping, I would have been in. And a lot of that had to do with stress. And I actually visited a lot of doctors, and one of them said to me, Danya, all of your health challenges are coming from stress. And if you can't find a way to reduce your stress in work, in parenthood, in everything else that you're doing, there's really nothing that we can do in the medical profession to help you.
Wow.
And I just saw the writing on the wall with some various health challenges I was having, where I kind of saw a not so great future path laying out for me. And it really felt like a choice point.
Hmm.
Was I going to make some big changes in my life to reduce my stress and focus on where I was going? Or was I just going to kind of fade off into, um, I don't know, the quiet decline?
Yeah. Yeah. That maybe 10 years later we notice it was a decline and go, how'd I get here?
Right. And so, I don't want to be that sort of cliche. And I recognize that I could make some pretty profound shifts in my life. Walking became a big part of that. And I think that in a way, walking and moving my body at the speed of walking, which I've heard you talk a lot about,
Yeah.
really helped me come back into resonance with my own inner voice. Like, what is it that I'm longing for? What is it that I am really dreaming of? And in a lot of ways, if I am giving out so much to everyone else, right? This is part of the cliche, is that we give and give and give. Is it selfish to take a moment to pause and ask, what is it that I want? What is it that I long for? And I think maybe what we'll get to is that it's not selfish. And in fact, it's the best act of service that we can give is to feel strong in our own self and spirit, and then be able to serve our community, our family, all the people that we're in contact with, and the world, not to be too grandiose.
Well, but that's really what it is. And if you look at sort of the scholarly view of pilgrimage and what the point of pilgrimage is within the context of a religious or faith tradition, we go on pilgrimage on behalf of our communities, our families, our circles of friends, and then it falls to us to bring back the benefits.
Mhm.
The Camino has sort of evolved and become something a little bit more selfish and a little bit more about the actual experience on the trail. But pilgrimage is really about getting that, visiting the oracle, getting the message and bringing it home. And I think you are right on the right track with that, especially because of those two fabulous girls who we are going to meet in just a little bit. Part of this, from what you and I have talked about, is the role of mother and the example that you're setting for your girls. Will you talk a little bit about that lens that you're looking through when you think about being the mom to Ella and Mia and going to walk this thing?
Oh, I love that question. So yes, I am the mother of two daughters. One is 12 and one is 17. And it's so kind of you to have invited them to join a little bit later, as well as my husband, because I really wouldn't have been able to logistically do this and leave for the days that I am leaving if I hadn't had their support. So that's something I'm really grateful for. And it's something that I have never done before. Mia is 17, and I think at one time or another I have left for a week at a time, but this is something really different and beyond that kind of a separation physically from them. And so it's going to be a bit of a pilgrimage and a journey for all of us to make this separation. And I think what you are asking me, and I've reflected a lot on, is as a woman, as a middle-aged woman, what example am I setting for my daughters? What
Yeah.
does a grown-up life look like?
Mm. And what do you want them to see in this and in you?
And what I'm really hoping that they'll see in this is their mother taking on a big challenge, following something that she's called to, listening to the sound of her own heart and spirit, and really jumping off into the unknown. I wish for that for them. And in wishing that for them, I realize it's also good and healthy to wish for that for myself. Because how can I just say, oh, I'll sacrifice, I'll be here, I'll never leave you. But when you are a grown-up woman, I want so much more for you.
Yeah.
They have to see it to believe it, I think.
Well, and you are their example.
Hmm.
You are the female example in their lives, right?
And I think they get that. It's amazing because we're at a moment in their lives where they're wondering, yeah, what does it mean to be a woman? What does it mean to be growing up in the world right now? And I want them to see that the world is big, that there's so much out there to explore. It's okay to jump into the unknown. I want them to feel that the world is their oyster.
Love that. I love that. So you're just going to go demonstrate that. Here's one way that it could look. Yeah. Do you think either of them will ever walk the Camino and maybe you'll go back and do it again as a family or with one of your girls?
I hope you'll ask them that question. I don't have the answer for them. Certainly, it would be a dream. You asked how far I'm going to go this time, and I was saying that I have my sights set on Burgos,
Yeah.
or possibly beyond. But wherever I end up, I hope that maybe my husband and I will pick up in a year or two when we can and finish all the way to Santiago together.
Yeah. Very nice.
But this is something I had to do alone, Nancy, and I don't know why that is true either.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about that, that it's something you have to do alone. And and what I think that means is not with your family because you've joined my group, which is going to be a group of 12 pilgrims going for the first 4 days together. So, what made you decide to join the group?
Oh, good point. Yes, I think you're absolutely right. So, alone, as in leaving my community, my family, all that's known to me here. And how incredible is it that I actually don't have to start totally alone? What an amazing gift you have offered to me
Mm,
and to those in your group. We really could talk a whole podcast just about the value that you are offering to me and to my cohorts because it is such an incredible um, offering that you're making to us.
thank
I could
you.
talk a lot about it, but the main thing that I'll say is that it's giving me courage.
Oh, okay. Talk about that.
So many times I've had a crisis of faith. Can I do this? Should I do this? Am I really going to do this? Am I really going to start?
Yeah. What makes you now think you can do it?
You and your group.
Okay, yes. And we're getting ready together and we're going to meet in Saint Jean and we're going to walk over the Pyrenees together. But I'm only with you till Pamplona.
There's something so brilliant about the concept that you have developed where it's a just get me started concept because we do have the courage inside of us.
Hmm.
I know we do. You know we do.
Yeah.
But this is something that I said I've never done before. None of our other cohorts have done this in this way before.
Yeah.
Very unknown. And every time that little voice, and I think we all have this little voice of doubt that sits on our shoulder, comes and whispers in my ear, whatever it is in that day,
Yeah.
you're not strong enough physically, or you're not strong enough emotionally, or how could you do this? Whatever those little whispers of doubt are, I just answer right back. Like, I'm starting with Nancy and our group, and I'm going to be fine. I'm
Yeah.
going to learn how to be a pilgrim by being a pilgrim, and then
Yes.
I will know.
Yes. Yeah. And you know, the thing is, hundreds of thousands of people start the Camino alone. Lots of people do, and it goes just fine. And other people will never walk the Camino unless there's someone to say, walk with me. Let's walk together through this. And then there's people in the middle.
Yeah, it's the thousands of people who had a dream but never left home to start it.
Yeah. And that's who I want to inspire and work with and just tell you that you can do it and show you how so you do it.
It's such a beautiful message that you're giving. And I could have been one of those people, Nancy. I could have
Hmm.
been one of those people who always dreamed of doing it, but didn't have the courage to do it. And it
Yeah.
would have just been this dream that sat on a shelf.
Hmm. You know, the other thing I get is people whose families are like, oh no, alone? No. Oh, wait, you're going with Nancy? Okay, you're fine. You can go. How does your family feel about you starting this thing with me?
I think it's a huge relief because I have a whole team of people here at not just my husband and my daughters, but also my parents and all, a lot of people have a lot of curiosities about how this is going to go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
knowing that walking over those mountains, I will be with this group of supportive friends is so perfect because as I said, it is important to me to have some alone time on this pilgrimage with
Yeah.
spirit, how to find my own heart. If that's my destination, I need to be quiet enough to listen to where it is
Yeah.
where I'm going.
Yeah.
So I hope to have many days of quiet
Hmm.
where I can listen.
Yeah, and you will. And you know what? Even when the group is together, I always encourage people to find their own pace because we don't all walk at the same pace. Some people you'll see some people are over the mountain and we're still going, where are they? And other people will be at the back with me. I'm the sweep person, making sure everyone gets over the mountain and everything in between. And some people will walk side by side in conversation, and some people will walk alone and see you at the next stop.
Yeah.
My thought is If you're getting ready to be independent on the Camino, why don't we just start doing it your way from the start?
It's the most perfect balance and the most brilliant program you've developed because it really allows me to feel the solo nature of this pilgrimage I'm undertaking
Yeah.
with the support that I need to actually begin. And you asked me an important question at the beginning, even when we were talking about my route, like, are beginnings more important to you, or feeling more potent, or are endings?
Yeah.
I thought that was such a wonderful question, and I had to really think about that. And I realized that at home in my normal life, everything is about accomplishing things,
Hmm.
finishing things, bringing things to completion, checking off tasks, all of that. There's an outcome driven nature to my life at home. And what a gift to myself to say, I don't know, I'm just going to begin.
I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh. Well, so when we're together in Saint Jean, we actually have a pretty slow start because one of my top tips, anyone who's been listening to the podcast knows my top tip, don't rush the start. So we're actually slowing it down and we're going to have 2 full days in Saint Jean before we start walking. So we're going to do some things. I'm actually introducing some new things this year that I'm really excited about. We're going to do a short, probably not quite half day walk on the low road because we're going over the high road on the Napoleon route. So we're going to walk for a few hours on the low road. And then we're going to do a little mini retreat focused on the inner journey. How does it feel for you to have that slower time in Saint Jean? And now I'm asking this, there's a risk to asking this because I don't know what you're going to say. You might say, I don't like it and I want to walk. And some people might say that, but because it's the first time, I'm just curious as to if that was an important part for you or if that's something you're maybe will warm up to.
Oh no, it was an integral part of me saying yes to our group. It feels like such an incredible value to um I love the concept of not rushing the start. I repeated that to many other people, and it actually applies to other things in life too, not
It
just
does.
a
Yeah.
pilgrimage. Like you said, a first kiss. You want to just get it over
Savor,
with? No.
savor. You wanted all the feels and oh my gosh. Yeah.
So, if anything, I just felt so lucky that you are introducing that offering because I could see how we could bring the concepts that we have at home of accomplishment, moving forward, quick, rush, continue, check the box. We could bring that to the Camino. We could bring that vibe with us, and I
Yeah.
really don't want to. Want to listen. I want to inquire. Why am I here? What does it mean? And I love that you're asking all those open-ended questions, that you don't have the answers, that you're spoon feeding us, because I know my pilgrimage is going to be so different from anyone else who starts.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's going to be 12 pilgrims on 12 different journeys, even though it looks like we're doing the same thing. It's really remarkable.
Yeah, so I just love you've asked us such profound questions. I've turned to my journal many times to ask those questions of myself and just this concept of keeping things very curious.
Hmm. Yeah.
What is this going to be for me? And
Yeah.
who am I going to become by doing
Yeah. I love that. And I haven't told you everything. I
it?
like it's like the point is to get you started and then you discover and there's so many things along the way that people learn as they go and as they walk into the pilgrim identity. And I want you to be surprised on the trail and I want you to do a double take and I want you to go, wow. And oh, I didn't know that this is hard. You're going to have all of that. And my job is not to protect you from that. My job is to give you the confidence to face that and to be with whatever comes up on the Camino. Do you feel like you're ready for all of that?
Oh, I mean, isn't it just the ultimate metaphor for life? Like, isn't it just, it's how life is always, all the time anyway.
Right.
So it's just illuminated so brilliantly on the Camino because,
Mhm.
and this is just my hypothesis. I'll have to, it's, again, discover it as I go.
We'll check back
Um,
in.
but because so many of the distractions are stripped away that keep me away from that deep listening. But isn't
Yeah,
it just how life is anyway, that there are, as you've said, plot twists?
exactly.
Incorporating that concept into my daily life at home, even
Yep.
with my clients. Oh, we've got a plot twist.
Plot twist. Let's roll with it. Let's see where this takes the story. Yeah.
So I think it will give me a lot of tools for coming back as well, just to see life in a different perspective.
Yeah. And I think that's the point. I have this working theory that when we go walk the Camino and we're called to it or we're longing for something that we think we're going to find on the Camino, we're actually longing to have that in our daily lives.
Mhm.
And so it's just an invitation to a deeper experience of the life you already have.
I hope so. Hope so.
We'll
Yeah, and I'm
see.
really glad that you've given us an off ramp as well, and just to know that you're here, you're not going to just say at Pamplona, bye, see you later. But that we actually not only do we stay in touch with each other, but I'm relying on the concept that I'll be able to stay in touch with you and your wonderful La Terraza community after.
Exactly.
So it really just makes me feel held,
Hmm.
supported, and comforted.
Wonderful. Yeah, because the Camino experience is not just on the trail. It's what you do to prepare mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and then it's on the trail. And then it's who comes home? How do we take care of the person who comes home and not have you do a face plant into into the pavement in front of your house because you're not in that life anymore. You've got to be able to be you and be your pilgrim self at home.
And that actually will be a healing experience for me, I think, to find the integration because I
Hmm.
can't tell you how often I have been crying tears of sadness on the way home from a big trip. I never want to come home.
Exactly. And so many pilgrims feel that way. Yeah. There's something about the Camino. And actually, we talk about it in La Terraza. What happened that we didn't know was happening? It's this space that just holds us. And then we're yanked out of that space. How do we recreate that space in our daily lives?
And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it, right? Because I already feel it working on me, even though I
Mm,
haven't taken my first step on that path. The opportunities for kindness, the opportunity in the grocery line to actually look someone in the eye and strike up a conversation, to slow things
yeah.
down. I think that's the Camino already working on me.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Well, your family will be here in a moment. Let me ask you one more question before they come on. Is there anything that you want to share, but I haven't asked the right question yet?
Can I have a minute to think about it?
Yeah.
Just, will you ask me that question again?
Yeah. Right now, or do you want me to ask at the end?
Oh, just now.
Okay. So, is there anything else that you would like to share, but I haven't yet asked the right question?
That's such a wonderful question, and I'm gonna have to sit with it after we end this call. I'm sure I'll think of 12 more things I could have said.
I'll get the email. Okay, let's write that into the introduction.
But one of my favorite teachers and writers is Martha Beck. I don't know if you're familiar with her work. She's the
Yes,
life.
the Joy Diet. Is she the one who wrote the Joy
Yes,
Diet?
and
Yeah.
she has wonderful books. But one thing that she said that I wrote down because it jumped out at me was if you're going on a search for stories about what your life really means, you're going to get them. And I just liked, um, I don't know, I want someone to ask me, what's the story of your life that you're telling, that you're writing right now? Like, what is the story?
What is the story? You didn't think I was going to let that go, right?
No. So I think it is the story of a woman at midlife at a crossroads. She has done a lot of the things that she thought she should do, And she's done many things that have brought her joy. She's experienced sorrows. She's lived a very full life up until this point, a big life, a wonderful life. And here she is at this crossroads now asking, what's next? And I think it's very exciting
It's really
to ask
exciting.
myself that question. And I'm going to
Yeah.
just lean into Martha Beck saying, I'm going to get some answers. So I hope people will keep asking me profound questions, not surface level questions. Like, what is
Yeah.
the story of our life? Why are we here? How can we serve? How
I
can
love it.
we love more? How can we experience joy? We offer healing to communities and people who are hurting. I feel like we're at a very meaningful time in the world right now, because I think this is a time in the world that history will look back at as another crossroads, and
Yeah.
really want to be part of um, the love that we can pour out into the world right now.
I think you're on that path for sure. Yeah. And it just reminds me when we talk about getting ready for the Camino, we do all of our group planning and coaching calls, right? And we talk about how to pack. Do you need a rain jacket or a poncho? Does everybody have their shoes worked out? How do we get to Saint-Jean-Pied-du-Port? Is it a bus, a train, or a taxi? And what's behind that, that we're actually clearing the path for, is the kinds of questions you just talked about. So we're going to get all that stuff handled. But behind it, I want you to know that at every moment, I know those questions are behind it. Every person who gets ready to walk the Camino has a deeper question, whether they've articulated it or not. And so we get caught up in how do I tie my bootlaces so my foot doesn't slip. But what we really want to know is what is my heart? What do my heart and soul want right now?
Aw, I feel emotional. Thank you for
Yeah.
holding those deeper questions with me. And I have absolutely loved listening to your podcast. I've listened to every minute that you have recorded. I'm a super fan.
Oh, thank you.
Oh gosh, your guests have so many different stories,
Right? Everyone is different.
many different places, but there is a thread that ties us all together. And I think it's about like, what is our deeper story?
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Oh, I love it. Well, how about we expand the story and meet your family?
That sounds great.
We have Danya's family joining us. This is very exciting. Danya, will you go ahead and introduce your family, please?
Oh, I'm so happy to have my support team here to say a little bit about what it means from their perspective. I have my husband, Eyal, my 17-year-old daughter, Mia, and my 12-year-old daughter, Ella.
All right. Yay. Are you guys excited to be here?
Yes, so excited.
Okay. Well, why? Why are you excited to be here?
Well, this is just like a really exciting thing for Mama, and I want to be like there supporting her, and I think this is like a good way to like bring her and us like into it at like a running start.
I love that. I love that. Mia, how about you?
Yeah, this is just such a cool and inspiring thing that she's doing, and it's special that we can be a part of this process and the journey and like get to know you a little bit because I know you'll be starting the walk with her. So
Yeah.
you and just hear all about it.
Yeah. Cool. And Yael, how about you?
I would add that it feels like this pilgrimage, in a way, is for the whole family. When one of us goes on this adventure, that transformation changes the whole homeostasis of the whole family. And so I feel like you're coming back with messages. And I'm also excited for how this will shift our dynamic. Me and the girls being together in this, and for this amount of time, this feels like something new that we haven't done before. So it's
Yeah.
an adventure. So,
Yeah.
Okay. So I would love to hear from Ella and Mia. What do you think this is going to be like to have mom gone for all this time?
I think it'll be an adjustment at first, but we're grown up and we're capable. And also, like, as a junior in high school, I'm starting to think about college and getting ready to leave. So, this is a good time to practice my independence and, yeah, being on my own a little bit more.
Oh, it sounds exciting for you. What a perfect time. And Ella, you're a few years younger. What do you think about that?
I feel like I'll definitely miss Mama. And I feel like if this was like 2 years ago, I would not have been ready whatsoever. And I feel like I've been getting like really depressed and anxiety full.
Hmm.
Now I'm like getting older and I realize like this is like good for mommy. Like she deserves this. Like by my side for like so long and she deserves like this, you know? Like I'm gonna go on the Camino and I'm just gonna be
I love it. Okay, so Ella, what do you exactly think your mom's going to be doing when you picture your mom on the Camino? What are you imagining?
like walking on like dirt mountains. It's like Italy because we did like a mini little walk that was like 3 miles once when we were in Portugal.
Okay.
She liked it.
So you're picturing mom just walking, a lot of walking on
A
dirt
lot of
paths.
food, food because they're in like Spain, and then like sleeping in like hostels.
Okay, I wish everyone could see your face. That was the best face I've ever seen tied to the word hostel. What, what do you think about hostels? What's your picture in your mind?
Um, like a little like run down little box kind of place that like has like some beds and a bunch of people sleeping together in a little sus way with a bunch of snoring. There's a lot of snoring involved.
You just you nailed it. I mean, that is what a hostel is. But we're going to make sure to send you some photos of some nice ones so we can maybe change your idea of what a hostel. Have you stayed in any hostels, Ella? No? Okay. All right. We're going to try to bust that myth because hostels, I don't know if you know this, but hostels were created about 120 years ago for young people to travel and to be able to afford to travel. So rather than spend $200 on a hotel and not get to talk to anyone, you'd spend $40 on a bed and meet a bunch of people your same age with the same interests.
Cool.
Cool, right?
Like I need a picture something because right now I'm really confused.
Yeah, we're going to get you some pictures. We'll send you some photos so you can actually see it. All right, Mia, how about you? What do you think what's your picture in your mind of what your mom's going to be doing?
Ooh, I'm getting visions of her like walking in the path and almost like receiving messages from the universe and like getting insights into how she can change her life going forward and make it better and feel amazing. And you know, but she's such a great writer, so I'm picturing lots of journaling and kind of reflecting on the days and writing, maybe starting a book.
I love that. There's some big expectations for you, Danya.
Ready for it.
Excellent. Eyal, how about for you? What are you picturing?
I think the maybe the biggest thing is waking up and having no roles, no expectations, no preconceived ideas of what needs to happen or should happen. So just even just putting aside, just on a shelf, like the mothering role or the working role, and just being able to follow where the curiosity is, and there's no speed. It's kind of, it feels timeless, and it feels
Mm,
timeless both in the sense that there's no you don't have to gather at a certain time, but also timeless in the sense that you're connecting in history to pilgrimages that have been done since humans were around, and
right.
connecting to something beyond. And I think from that place and being in nature, and the walking, there's and meeting remarkable people along the way that you wouldn't meet otherwise. It opens up an opportunity to just, it's almost like a meditation, or a walking meditation, to
Yeah.
see what arises naturally.
Well, and you two have a history in music and meditation. Danya shared a beautiful video with me of some of your early musical days. I'm wondering if Danya's going to bring music to her Camino. She asks, hopefully.
I can see us singing on the path together, Nancy.
Yeah, yeah. I would love to see more of your work. It was really touching. Yeah, to see that. Yeah.
And Nancy, I might just interject here. I know I mentioned earlier that this is going to be my birthday right before I depart, and
Yeah.
39th birthday. And Eyal actually had an amazing insight about the timing of this, which we did not plan.
Yeah, so 49 has another kind of symbolic significance, which is it's the seventh cycle, the seventh, seventh cycle of 7 years.
Uh-huh.
In the Jewish path, that's called the Jubilee year. And what that means, it's historically, it's been a year of release, a
Mm.
year of restoration. So, in olden days, what that looked like is actually like slaves would be freed on that year, and the land would be returned to its original owner in that year. And even farming, it was a year of letting everything restore itself. So don't over harvest. So in a way, it's a spiritual reset button, so to speak. And it's I think symbolically it comes at a time like just as Ella just said, like she is ready for this. I think you're ready for this, and it's an opportunity to kind of remember who you are after being in the mothering cave for so long, and an opportunity to maybe discover something new.
And I just like the word of a jubilee year. Let's have a jubilee.
Yes. Well, and that word is used in reference to the Camino. It's a Jubilee year on the Camino de Santiago is when July 25th, which is St. James Day, falls on a Sunday. And next year is the Jubilee year on the Camino.
Wow.
Yeah, so your timing really is remarkable. It's just perfect. Yeah. And so maybe you all will come back and do a little walk on the Camino. Mia and Ella, any thoughts? Do you see yourself ever doing something like this?
Yeah, one day I would love to go on a Camino with my mom and with the rest of the family too. That would be amazing.
Yeah, cool. What do you picture for you if you were on the Camino? What would you imagine your experience would be like?
I mean, like Ella mentioned a little bit this past summer, we got to do a little bit of a walk on a Camino in Portugal, and just like the views of the ocean were incredible. And I just picture myself like walking and just like soaking in the nature and I don't know, getting insight into my life.
I love that. I love that. It's very soulful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ella, how about for you? You want to go do one of these things?
I feel like I would love to do like a something like a pilgrimage in like Europe.
Uh-huh.
Walking isn't my thing.
It's good to know that.
I think I could do like an e-bike pilgrimage.
Okay. Very good. And some pilgrimages, people don't walk to it at all. They just go. So you could even go just visit Santiago.
Yeah, I feel like Europe is like where it's like my calling kind of.
Yeah.
I would like love to move there or like
Okay. Girl after my own heart.
yeah, like the expat.
You're an expat in your heart already, right? Yeah. Very good. And you've already traveled some, so there's a big world out there,
I'm
right?
becoming like German, so like I get my citizenship, so then I can like live in Europe like forever.
I am high-fiving you in my mind. I just want you to know. I seriously, I love Europe too. Very good. Now, well, so while mom's away, how will you all be involved in her journey? You'll hold down the fort at home and you'll live life and go to school and do all that stuff, but how will you be part of her journey so she knows you're with her?
I love the idea of getting kind of like a journal or a blog or some, or a picture here and there so we can kind of imagine what it's like. We want to make sure that we don't like have too many needs so you don't have to focus on us, but rather focus on your own journey.
Yeah.
But I think, in past travels, it's nice to get like a picture of like here I am having this meal with these people that I've met, and then we can kind of be brought into that. We'll try to be self-sufficient in our own needs over here so that we don't, again, so that you really feel free in what you're doing there.
This is being recorded, right?
Yep.
So we're expecting no texts that say, "Mom, where are my gym shoes?" None of those.
No promises on my part, Paul.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, let me see. Do any of you have any questions for me about what your mom's going to be doing or what this thing is all about? Anything I can answer for you?
I guess I want to say thank you because I feel like you're providing such a beautiful way to start it and help her find her wings in that. And I think I mean, the scariest part is probably just taking that first step. So having a community around that
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
feels,
The most daunting part of walking the Camino, I believe, is getting started.
yeah.
It is taking those first steps and everything that had to go before. And I just want you to know it is absolutely my pleasure to be providing this service and to be sharing this with Danya and now you. So now I know you, and now you're going to be with me as I go to the Camino as well. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us. I really appreciate it. I think this is a wonderful first, and I hope it won't be the last. Yeah. So,
And Nancy, Ayel didn't hear me say this, but when we were talking earlier, I mentioned that maybe Ayel and I, and the girls, if they want to, could finish the part of the Camino that I didn't get the chance to complete this May.
yeah. Well, anything I can do to help the family be on the Camino, I'm available to you all. So, yeah, it's just my pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah. Any final words, Miss Ella? Anything you'd like to say?
Uh, Not really. I'm excited for you guys to go on the Camino. Because, like, I like you. I trust you with my mommy.
I can't tell you how much that means to me. Thank you. I will take good care of her. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to empower her and affirm that she can do it. And she's going to rock this thing, you know? And the thing is, it's going to be all her. Yeah. Thanks for trusting me. I mean, that means the world to me. Thank you. All right. Well, how about we wrap it up there? Thank you so much. And you know what we should do? We should do another conversation when she gets home. You guys up for that? Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Because I want to hear how it went for all of you left at home. I want the whole story. I don't just want the easy parts. I want the good, the bad, the bumps, the plot twists, all of it. And we'll get the same from mom. All right, guys. Mwah. Thank you very much. Lovely to meet you all. We'll wrap it up there. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Nancy.
Bye.